How do you go from being a graffiti artist in London to leading the creative teams and work for companies like Nike, Apple, and Beats? We'll find out today because it is the story of Easy Blaine. He's the Chief Creative Officer at Huge. Easy is also very inspiring because his work is driven by true passion and his need to make the next generation of creatives even better. It's the reason he founded One School, which is a free portfolio program for Black creatives. The conversation starts now. You and I met at Adobe Summit. When you live here, one of the issues is that you don't necessarily have that exposure, right? So I think that's where I want to start the conversation. I want to know how you started.
Let me start here. There's a couple angles I'm going to give you. First, it's going to be something about you, right? So what most people might not realize is that it's the individual which is going to make the most impact, right? You have to be, something in you is going to have to give you that drive. The man upstairs helped you too, but something in you also helped, right? And that's what I know has been my biggest differentiator, or what's driven me the most is my internal chip, or my mission, or my ambition to make something happen. Let me start there. So I've already seen that in you, so you're going to be extremely successful. There's training, you can go to school, you can do a master's, but it's always going to come down to something that's built into your DNA and your person that's going to push you all the way through. So let me just start there, and I think it also lends itself to my story. So for me, I started out essentially in a time where, and in a kind of family setup where there was only a couple of things that made the most sense to me. And one of them was art and creativity. And I kind of connected to it very, very early. I knew it was a way for me to express myself, it was a way for me to dream. I was definitely one of those kind of kids that was introverted in terms of just always into myself and always thinking about different things. And art was a way to express that. Very early on, I started in creativity, was in graffiti art, where my brothers could draw. And I saw them drawing, I was like, shit, I want to be able to do that. I started realizing it was actually opening doors. People were coming to me like, oh shit, you can draw as a dope drawer. So I was getting that kind of, my ego was getting rubbed, but also I was realizing I was connecting with people, I was making new friendships. I realized it was a way to connect and write and tell stories, and you can make people feel things. And then that feeling of them feeling happy, I loved. And so I continued to figure out how to do that. And literally, it sounds really crazy, but that from that moment is I knew it was going to be either two things, because I'm a North London kid, I'm an Arsenal fan. We just won the league, very big deal.
Big deal.
Big deal. If it was going to be two things, it was going to be art or it was going to be football. But football didn't work out, a whole bunch of different reasons, but it was really about me saying, hey, I'm going to put everything I can into this art. And coming from a Nigerian household, that's not, a single mom with 3 boys. I was just kind of left to my own devices to figure it out, right? And there was no access, there was no kind of understanding of what to do. So it was just really figuring out, meeting people and connecting with people and showing them what I do and what I was good at. When I talk about it being a journey of curiosity.
Yeah.
Like, I know I love this, and then how far can this take me? How far can the love of something take me? And just take me all the way here, essentially. I love film. I've got a master's in film, and so that's where it kind of became the journey. Then from there, it was understanding how brands work. So because I was cutting commercials, I was like, who made the original idea for this commercial? And that's where it took me into brand side and at Wyden and Kennedy, and I started to understand how to build a brand and what that actually truly meant, and storytelling and all those kind of things. And just went from there.
You moved from being a graffiti artist to your role now, where you are the Chief Creative Officer at Huge.
Yeah.
Right? So there are a lot of things that happened between there for you to get to that point, but I think to go from that to what you are now, and then leading the teams that do the work and guiding the vision and all of that.
Yeah.
I think that is really striking to me, because I can just imagine how difficult it is to get the talent to work, get the talent to understand the vision, get the talent to execute. While we do have the talent, sometimes the passion is lacking. And not only that, but on Monday, the guys may not come to work. They may not come to work on Tuesday. They may roll in on Wednesday. And then, you get 3 good days of work out of the week.
That's funny. Listen, I think there is definitely an idea around. Okay, so let me say this, because I helped start a school in 2020. It's called One School. It's to get Black creatives into the industry. But before that, I was always a guy that people came to when they needed like direction, or like, hey, I was that advisor or that coach. And I think I realized that was actually part of being a good leader, was us being someone that people could talk to. So one of the biggest things was ideas can come from anywhere. Literally anywhere. So when I look for talent, I look for the ones that are open, that want to talk, that have a bit of that curiosity. I would go to galleries and I'll see the guys that are standing off to the side, a little bit introverted, or they were off to the side. I would always go to them. I would always go to the people that are a little bit offbeat, people that kind of didn't fit with the norms. I would always go to 5 areas, because I was like, you think differently. Everyone's perspective is incredibly important. And so my job as a leader is to cultivate an environment that feels empowered to kind of make the work that they want to make. And finding talent is everywhere, but it's not how it appears usually. I have, my minimum is curiosity. Does that make sense?
Curiosity is not something that you can teach.
I want the one that's like asking questions, that's going to seek stuff out. There's 2 things that I think are kind of non-negotiables: curiosity and motivation. A lot of the times you have to do business, and they have to be connected to like outcomes. So no matter how brilliant you are, if I can't communicate that there's certain things that need to happen, we can't continue. Because I believe in doing right by someone that's going to give you money. Like if someone's going to give you money to do something, and you've got a deadline that needs to get met. A lot of what we do is that 10,000 hours, it's just effort. If you've got some curiosity, you've got some motivation, you've got some consistency, you'll get there, you'll learn it. And so you have to be a bit brutal with it's like a football team. You've got to be brutal. Some people will sit on the bench until they're ready. Some people might have to get transferred out. Sometimes, okay, so if we continue this football analogy, right, people like loan out players, and then they loan them out to get better. And then like they become better, and then if you want to come back, and then you can perform. Sometimes you need to get sharpened up by experiences, right? And one of the biggest players is Eze, right? He left, he was part of the Arsenal Academy, he left, he came back, and he's won the league. As a creative leader, you have to maintain that consistency around your team. You can't let that be like too wishy-washy. That's a very UK term. You can't have it be too loose. Okay, so here's another angle. Have you done an assessment of like where the talent is in Ghana? Like where does it live? Like where's the locations? What schools are good? Where are people hanging out? Where's the design happening? Are you able to pinpoint that? One of my biggest things.
School of Art.
Okay, so one of my biggest things is what I've done for a very long time is go to school shows, because I believe there is always young talent. Is always going to be. It might be unrefined sometimes, but you can make them what you want, and that's why I started the school too. And some of my students have gone on. One of them works with me. They've gone on to win Cannes Lions. They're at Mao, the biggest kind of advertising agency on the planet. They've worked for Google and Apple, but they weren't traditionally what they, the perfect on the book creative, blah, 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 blah. The one that works for me, she was a pre-med student. We've converted social workers find that person that's at like 50, 60%. I'm going to send you to this course, or go and take this training, or go speak to Ez, you know, that kind of thing. And then you kind of help you craft them, and then they're going to see that you've believed in them. You're going to get that kind of loyalty there and that passion, you know, because I love the enigmas. I love those guys, the guys that come and they just bang it out. But sometimes that's not scalable. You can't scale it. The way I see the world is like, if you're brilliant, you need to make more brilliant people. That's just how I am, right? So that's how the people that you think are great, like I'll get you're individually great, but go and make some other great people, please. You can build that curriculum around them and say, hey, you're going to go to 6 gallery shows, or you're going to go to that local coffee shop and you're going to ask them to design some t-shirts for them, and I want to see how that goes. Or you're going to go to that, you know, the tax guy and going to make some social media content for him, and then you're going to come back to me. You know, one of my other things, what I love to do is make sure my creatives are doing stuff outside of work. So I want to know that you're doing stuff that's like extracurricular to my work tasks for you. So that shows a motivation. You're using your own creative license at that point to make work. So you end up not having to worry and be confined by client briefs all the time. You're expanding your own creativity on your own. People are going to love you for that.
Yeah.
You're going to build an environment. People are like, oh, I'm going to grow here. One of my biggest things, I want people to leave saying, hey, you changed me. You know, because that's happened to me with the creative directors and stuff that I've worked with. They've changed me. And that's what you got to that's the environment you got to make, man.
You sound like an exceptional leader. And I Googled, because I want to know, what does easy mean? E-Z-E. It means chief or king or something.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And when I saw that, I said, oh, that's so fitting.
Yeah, I appreciate
and
that.
And it all ties everything together now, because now I'm seeing like how committed you are to being a good leader and being of service to other people, and, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I thank you for that. A lot of the teams I've run are like global. They haven't just been local crews. They've been like Japan or China or, you know, all over the place. So to do that, you really have to understand larger context.
So that brings me to my next question. What has been the biggest, hands down, biggest marketing campaign you've ever worked on? Pick one, easy. Just pick one. I know there are many.
But I'm gonna pick a project or like an instance, and that was the day at Apple. Essentially, like, I was creative director for that, and it was essentially creating programming and events and opening Apple stores, like launching them like globally, and it was running that team. It was like part of the retail division, right? And so the team would work on how to kind of embed that store into culture within that community. And so a lot of the times, kind of like you're doing a little, we did one in New York and Williamsburg. So it's like, how do we embed this store in culture and invite the community in? So we create launch campaigns for them.
You know, I believe that's called glocalization.
Yeah, I like that term. I've never heard that, I don't think, but I like that term. Yeah, we've done that. We did that at the DC store, the one down here in LA. Yeah, so I love that. And the reason I love that is a couple of things. One, you know, the kind of Apple's big mission, which is kind of having anyone kind of follow their passions, all the way through from, like, you know, 5 years old or whatever to like 100 years old. That's the idea of liberal arts and technology, being just democratizing that and letting people try and learn and follow their passions. I love that. I also love the fact that it was global. It was, there was trans creation and all that kind of stuff that was involved. And there's the impact. You know, people would kind of take a session and be transformed from that afterwards. Like, oh, now I know how to make a song, or now I know how to make a beat, or now Apple would start working on those like years in advance. In terms of like finding a location, making sure it kind of made sense years in advance. And then when it started they kind of inked the deal and construction started, and, you know, those were probably about a year out maybe. start thinking about kind of like what we're going to do for the store, and then it will start really heating up probably like 6 months out. So once those went up, then it's game time.
One of the things you just said is talk to the community. That is really like the starting point.
Yeah, I know is that you want human connection in any type of business, and to cultivate anything, you need human insights. You need raw human. You just need the rawness in it, right? And that might be coming from the deepest ghettos in your city. You know, the fringes, the art people, the dude in the corner that likes to busk and sing. Like, go and follow him and find out what he's up to. You know, the lady that's kind of starting a weird little clothing brand, go and speak to her. And like, you have to kind of understand them and kind of and motivate them and kind of gather around them and instill them. But one thing you can do, I think, is what I've realized happens quite a lot is like you borrow. I don't know if you kind of read this book, which is Still Like an Artist, old school book. And, you know, people got different.
I'm making notes of it.
Yeah, it's got, I think his name's Austin Klein. Like that. Let me figure out how that can happen, right? And so a lot of the times, cultural movements, art movements, people taking musical genres, they're doing a version of Guyana Afro beats or whatever it is. Those type of people is like, hey, I need that mindset. You bring those guys into your organization. You have them come and do a talk to your creative team. You know, you have them do a session, because what you want to do is like showcase, oh, that guy I think is kind of cool, and he and Ashley like that. That's cool. Maybe I can start doing that. So you're trying to motivate people to see in a different way. And so there's definitely some people in your city or in your town that are trying to like go left when everyone else is going right. Find them. That's your mission. That's the mission.
In my mind, I feel like the market is so saturated and everyone is on TikTok and Instagram, and I just feel like if I put my voice out, I feel like it would be going into the void, because I mean, who's gonna respond? Who's gonna write me back? You know what I mean?
I do. But
scared.
that mindset or that's anxiety. That's your brain trying to get you to not do something because there's a bit of fear. Not to get psychological on you, but that's what that is. You gotta fight it.
Exactly what it is.
You gotta fight it. You've got a perspective. You've gone through it. You're motivated by it. Humans love that. Other humans love that. Passion. They love to see passion. That's why we love art. We love to understand those stories. We love film. We love music. So that's because it's come from us as humans. So that is infectious. So people would want to come and hear your perspective. You tell them your story. You tell them how you grew up. Every human is unique. And so every story you tell or environment you create is beneficial and something that can draw people in. You know, and there will definitely be people that resonate with it. So you should never, I usually try and fight those. When I get that feeling, I usually fight it. I usually go. So anytime you feel that, it's kind of wrapped in fear, do it. Do it. Do it.
Okay, I have something wrapped in fear. Fear of someone taking my idea.
Do it.
So, but suppose someone takes the idea.
They're not you. I've got more hits. Think yourself as an artist. You got bangers. Yeah. This is a banger that I'm putting out, and I've got more. I've got albums.
Okay, I have always felt that way because it wouldn't be the first time that maybe, you know, I spoke about something, it ended up somewhere, but I would always take it in stride, and I would always say, okay, well, if you're genuinely creative, more will come.
Yeah. More
will come.
A lot of the times when you try and hold on to them, you're not going to put them out. Someone else is going to do it because they come from a different place. So once you start seeing it in your mind, that manifestation is starting to feel like it, manifest it, bring it out.
How do you feel AI impacts the creative industry and the work that we're able to put out?
For me, and I just did a full campaign in AI. Full campaign. It's for Coin Tracker. I think it was like 4 minutes. My team worked on it. It's long. I believe AI is another tool, and it's for you to be used. And just like any tool, it's the person, the hand behind it that can make it mean something, to give it that kind of like extra source and extra love and extra passion and extra insight and extra connection. Obviously, you're gonna get a lot of bullshit, right? But you're also gonna get some incredible opportunities. You know, it's gonna allow a lot more people, especially people of color, to make something. I use it a lot. I started a sunglasses brand called New Throne, co-created with AI. I would sketch them out and then throw them in, and then it would, do its thing and help me figure out a kind of like a brand ethos and an angle. Like if I get, it's like, oh, that's a great idea. That's why most of the brands are calling them co-pilots, and they're like little like robots on the side, or like Clippy from back in the day in Microsoft, because they're supposed to just help you do your thing. So that's kind of how I see it. The accelerator for my ideas. Sometimes it can be lonely, so you might need someone to tell you, go for it.
Go for it.
And AI's good at that. It's like, yeah, it's a great idea.
Go ahead. Yeah, for sure. But also I think with AI, it pushes you to ask better questions as well.
Yeah, like how, you can set it up to do that. Hey, grill me, or what I like to do in my company, my business. My co-founder is a guy called Tim Shea, absolute legend. We set up a kind of like our own version for our brand, which just rips our shit to shreds. It's like, hey, here, we have an idea. It's like, it's like a devil's advocate finance guy in your company. It's like, says no to everything.
Yeah,
we have it run ideas through that, just to like, okay, cool. And then if you've got real motivation around it, we're like, no, actually, we're gonna do this. But so you can. I just love what it's allowed people to do. It's definitely kind of like with any technology, it's gonna cause some disruption.
What are the big dogs in the creative space in the US using? What are the big dogs?
So it's Claude. Claude's the guy right now. He's making the most moves. Big man in the place. Then you got OpenAI. He's like ChatGPT. He's doing his thing. Still super useful. You got Gemini chilling. Still kind of useful.
Yeah.
So those are the big three, I would say. And then there's a whole slew of other tools I use for my creative explorations. Higgsfield, Freya, Luma Labs, Kive. I use like a shit ton of different ones for the actual the kind of interface related stuff. Stand up, be confident, in that room. That's stand up and tell people your idea.
They might take it, but another one.
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
You might get fired. You're like, fuck it, I'll go and find somewhere else to work. Be good.
But I think that is the perfect way to wrap this up. But I do believe that time between when you have the idea and the execution, it needs to be as short as possible. I
think you can marinate things, but a lot of the times, once you've marinated it, you gotta
LFG.
Yeah, you just gotta let it out and go.
Yeah,
because it's the time's gonna pass you by, and you're just gonna. I really try to avoid living with regret, especially when it comes to creative ideas, because you usually see them happen, and I hate that feeling. It's like, I had that idea, I remember doing that, and then you're like, so I hate that feeling. So I usually, when I have an idea, I've really got really good at, okay, let me just spend copious amounts of time, so let's bring it out,
Easy. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Is there anything you want to ask me before we go, or?
I mean, listen, I think I understand your mission, even though it's a very small conversation we had about what you're trying to do with your team, and also kind of the way you see even Guyana. Like, you should realize that's rare. right? So you might feel a little bit alone in it, but you have to continue. So that feeling of like, oh, I can't look to the left and right, that's okay because you're pioneering. Does that make sense? So you're going to have that feeling, and doesn't mean it's wrong or it's not going to happen or it's not the right thing to do. It just means that you're on the edge. You know, I've started a new community actually called Create the Edge. Kind of talks a little bit about that. And it is the idea of like, hey, sometimes you've got to be out there. So you've got the motivation, you've got the passion, you've got the curiosity, you've got all the traits of making something great. So it's less of like me asking questions, more about just me boosting you up and making sure you go and do it. And I'm gonna check in on you and give you a call. But Ashley, have you done it?
Have you done it?
Yeah, have you done it? Put it out.